So whomever will be presenting for the Board of Pharmacy, if y'all would move close to a microphone so that we can hear you. Yeah, that's fine. And just introduce yourself to the committee. I'm Senator Hill. I've been on appropriations for 15 years, but this is a new special fund agency that they've handed me this year.
My name is Susan McCoy. Is that on? Can you hear me?
Is it on green, Susan? Just get close. Just get close to it.
Okay. There we go. My name is Susan McCoy, and I'm the Executive Director with the Board of Pharmacy. And I've got with me my Associate Director, Todd Deere. And so we're here today just to kind of give you a little overview about what we do and what we're asking for this next year, and then to answer any questions that you've got from us. We don't have a lot of requests this year. Our biggest, we've got, we've asked for a 3% raise for our people. Everybody that works for us is very specialized. We do a lot of other things, and you can see on our handout that we gave you just kind of an overview about our agency and what we do. As you can see on there, we do a lot more than just license people. We obviously do license people. We've got pharmacists, technicians, students, but we also have a lot of facilities as well, not just pharmacies. We've got our wholesalers, our manufacturers, our 3PLs, the whole gamut of and we also have the pharmacy benefit managers. That's a big pharmacy benefit managers. It's a huge word around here. So anyway, yeah. So, but they all have to license with us. So we do have a license, and then we do have oversight somewhat, which y'all will be seeing more bills later that deal with that. So anyway, that's kind of what we do in a nutshell. But the biggest thing that I want to say about the raise for our people is because we are so specialized in the things that we look at. We have federal rules, lots of federal rules with FDA, DEA, any of the other federal agencies that have rules dealing with drugs or pharmacies. But like I said, a lot of rules dealing with just logistics of drugs and moving drugs around and who has authority and who doesn't have authority, and then who can have licenses and who can't have licenses. And then we also have a big thing that's coming about more recently are the outsourcers, which y'all are all familiar with the GLP-1s, with the as some people call them, is the fat shots. We don't call them that, but that's what a lot of people know them at. Yes, sir, Ozempic and Wegovy and those things. Well, there's a lot of compounders, a lot of outsourcers, and so the FDA has a pathway for some compounding and things, and so now all of them are getting licensed. We're getting a lot more non-resident licenses for them too.
More work.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And so, yeah, it's a lot. And so the people that we've got are, like I said, are very specialized. We've been very fortunate to be able to keep most of them. We have very little turnover in our office, and which is really good because it takes about 1.5 years to get everybody fully trained. And so we want to keep them here. So these raises are very important to us as far as turnover and attrition and that kind of thing. So that's, we do ask for that. Another big thing that we're asking for this year, we have had, as y'all well know, the opioid crisis and the addiction crisis and everything that's gone on with all of that. We've had a pretty good support group for our recovering pharmacists, but the board did not feel like that it was robust enough, and so we have put out an RFP. And now we're encompassing mental health as well, which we're seeing a lot of that as too in the healthcare professions, as y'all can imagine. We're seeing a lot of burnout, a lot of things that's going on to cause mental health issues. And so we've seen some in the last year. We've seen an increase in the number of licensees that we've had some mental health issues, and we didn't have a way to address that. We're pharmacists, we're not physicians, and so we've got to have another avenue for our board members to be able to make good, educated decisions on this, and to get the licensees the help that they need with the addiction process or the mental health process. Yes, sir.
Sure, Senator.
You talk about you have to have more licensees, and what right now, what are your major objectives with the pharmacy? What are your major objectives?
Well, obviously it's to protect the public, but if that's what you're asking. But as far as the licensees themselves, we have the pharmacists and technicians and the students that we license as individuals, which, we have to make sure they meet all the requirements for their licensure and all of that. And then we've got a whole set of rules that we follow for facility permits.
You need more individuals to evaluate those that need to get the license?
Yes, sir. And for we have a whole lot of non-resident facilities. We don't have as many that are located in our state. So, but they're still shipping drugs into our state or still compounding drugs and shipping them into our states. So it's very important that we vet those people that come into here. So every licensee that comes from out of state has to have an inspection of their facility. And then we have somebody here that reviews those inspections. So when I say that they're very specialized, that's one of the things that they have to do is know what to look for on those inspections. So
And as
it's,
we go out to some places, as we're seeing, you know, the fat shot will take you a lot of places. Y'all seen it offered a lot of places. When we go in, we have the ability to look for anywhere that has drugs, legend devices. A lot of times we're finding people who are shipping in who aren't licensed. So then it's, you know, educating them on the need for the license and making sure that what they're providing was compounded pursuant to both our state and federal regulations on that.
So these brick and mortar places you're saying you have a license of individuals?
Both. We, from an occupational licensure perspective, we do people for, in the pharmacy profession, but for the drug supply chain, and you think about all the people who touch drugs, those facilities that ship or own, they have to be licensed if they're not an end dispenser.
I think what Susan was talking about when she said that they need another avenue for mental health or pharmacists who have developed a substance abuse issue, we had a bill passed through public health and I handled that bill and talked to Todd in depth about it, that gives the pharmacy board the authority to, if they self-report that they have an issue, to get them treatment and get them back stable to where they can work without having a mark on their license to hurt their employment. And so that's what she's talking about right there, because after COVID and you know, the opioid crisis, of course, we've had medical professionals that have had mental issues. We've had substance abuse issues for years, and the medical board and the dental board have a little bit more leeway when it comes to discipline their members and licensees. And so what they're asking for in that bill that passed through public health is for them to be able to utilize the contract people that they have now to treat these folks for mental health and substance abuse issues before it comes to a point to where they have to contact law enforcement or it goes that far to where they have a mark on their license. Am I right?
that's correct.
Held it.
That is correct. And so that's this extra 118,000 that we've asked for. That is to help us to pay these contract people that are going to help us to make those evaluations. So that's what that is. And then,
And you feel like you have enough in your budget as is to handle the salary increases and that increase for that,
yes, we do.
contract.
We have kind of moved some things around in
Yeah.
our contractual areas. And so we think that that's going to be the case. After this first year, we'll kind of know a little bit better. So I may be coming, if it doesn't work out, I may be coming back next year and asking for a little bit more. But for now, we think this is going to cover us. And so
Employees do you have?
we got 21. We just added this last legislative session, we added a new legal person because with PBMs, we've had a lot of issues. So anyway, that's an increase. Yes, we appreciate y'all's help last year in giving us that because we definitely needed it. The only other thing that we've got besides the two things that I've asked for already is just the ITS money. You know, the ITS is coming back asking us for a little more money so that they can, you know, provide us the needs for those needs that we've got with ITS. And so that's pretty much it as far as our request. So anyway. Other than that, we're just here to answer any questions.
Okay. Would anybody else have a question? Any other senators have a question for Susan or Todd? Well, thank y'all for a very concise presentation, and we'll work on what you need, and hopefully we can get everything that you need to operate as efficiently as you can operate with the big job that y'all have.
Well, we appreciate that. Thank you again.
Yep.
ITS may be doing field help.
Yeah, it may pay it all. Yeah,
that's all they
yeah,
may not be.
right,
That's
yeah,
the point.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know
That's
maybe
great.
yet, but I
Yeah.
figured we'd wait till we work it out.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Okay. Okay, do we have the chiropractic examiners here? Okay, if y'all would move up to the microphone. 20th, did it help? So. Okay, would you mind introducing yourself to the committee? Because I'm new and some of these other members are new to the budget committee.
See you again. My name is Yvonne Laird, and I'm the Executive Secretary of the Mississippi State Board of Chiropractic Examiners. This is PJ Lindsay, and she works in our office as Compliance Director, Deputy Director, Janitor, whatever we need to be. IT. I have a total of 3, but we also have 4 boards. So we have 4 boards, 4 people. Okay, just as an overview, the Mississippi State Board of Chiropractic Examiners was legislated in 1973. It's a relatively small board. We only have 700 active licensees, which has grown about 15% a year. Our agency operations, of course, is we operate with a 6-member board, and all staff functions are performed without state pins. We are a contract employee. The name of my company, of course, is J. Barr and Associates, and I have served in this capacity for the last 3 years. Our revenue, we have a whopping $134,000 in the bank. And we have had experienced some increase in revenues without additional revenue fees and license fees over the past 3 years. But our biggest challenge right now is our database system. It was being such a small board, we always look to the state and LARS, which is an ITS licensing and renewal system. We have 2 boards that operate under that system, and we love it. We're big proponents of the license and regulatory system that was developed by ITS. But once we came on board, we got an estimate to go to LARS, because the system that we had in place was developed in 2018. There's no longer any patches, any fixes, any, anything it's a platform that's no longer supported by Microsoft, which offers us a challenge not only through security issues, but just from the mere aspect of what happens when something happens. So we had asked for $25,000 last year. When we found out about the Microsoft had eliminated the fixes for this particular system, we went to LARS. The cost estimate to move to the LARS system was $171,000, which is way above our pay grade. And so we have to look at alternative methods of working with the system that we currently have in place. So we had requested $173,000. The legislative budget recommendation was $134,000, and without that additional $40,000 to $50,000, we're going to have to be working with a system that has no bug fixes. And to us, there's a major problem when when our system goes down and there's no way to fix it. So this would kind of rebuild the system that's already there. Is it a workable system for a small board? Yes, it is. Would we really like to have the big fancy LARS system? You bet. But we can manage what we've got as long as we know that it offers a secure mechanism for online renewals.
I'm going to just, if you don't mind, jump in a little bit.
Absolutely.
So what we, and I am on, so the handout is kind of backwards, because we thought we would come to you first and talk about the budget needs instead of about the agency. Typically, when you see handouts from these boards, you'll see the information about the agency. But because this agency does need the technology changes, that's what's forefront in this handout. And so what we're asking for is about $40,000 just to get the technology up to date. And that also includes, ITS has decided that all of the data needs to now be on a cloud base. And so they've asked that every state agency get ready to move to the cloud and pay for their share of that. And so just the data migration is $3,000. And then there's another $2,500 for an ongoing.
We've heard that from pretty much
Yes.
every special fund agency.
Yeah, okay, so you know about that. So that might get to come out if the legislature takes care of that. But the LAR system is the one thing that,
So you're saying 40,000 above,
well, it's 36 just for yeah. And so,
Yes, it's 36, yeah, it's 36,315 just for the system, but we were asking for 40 just in case we need to make some modifications. We had some changes with our rules that were set forth by the Occupational Licensing Review Board that allows for online continuing education hours. That's not something that's ever been allowed, so we're going to have to make some system modifications.
okay.
in order-
So you're saying that you do not have the funds,
no,
or you do have the funds?
We have the fund.
Okay, because you
Yep.
you initially told me you had $134,000 in the bank.
We have, excuse me, I'm sorry. We
Yeah,
have
the wrong board.
300, yes. We
Okay,
have 300.
Okay, I was just gonna clarify.
You've allowed us to spend hundreds.
Yeah, okay, I was
Yeah.
just gonna
Yeah. So,
clarify
yeah.
I'm
that.
sorry.
Because I thought you did have, the extra funds.
343.
You're just asking for the authority to spend that, and you want to go into the LARS system, and
Well,
or this amount of money will allow you to make some changes to your system?
Right.
Yeah.
Modify what we've got.
right. The biggest,
Since we have not allowing you to back up things, is basically what you're talking about.
Well, the cloud, we hope, is going to be taken care of legislatively.
Yeah,
Okay.
With ITS, that would pull it out of our individual budget.
yeah.
You need to be able to,
But we do back it up.
you still need to, yeah.
we do, yeah, we have the
Okay.
backup. It's just not in the public domain.
Tax
And so
dollars, but you just want the authority to spend money.
that's correct. And if you look at the chart on page 2, it kind of tells you what the one-time expenses that we are requesting. And like I said, it's one time. And so the one-time expenses for the update to the database system is 40,000.
Okay.
And then we had one-time expenses to move to the cloud, which we may not need. And then there is a request for increase in our operational expenses. So while Yvonne talked to you about how she is a management firm that actually runs this board. And so as part of her contract, she provides everything for operation for that board. So there's no building lease, there's no commodity cost. Basically, it all comes to J. Bar and Associates. And-
Okay, yes, there's no file cabinets and there's no nothing.
So
Gotcha.
yeah, and so the board actually did some analysis of what it would cost if they did not use her services and realized what a cost savings they're receiving. We did some analysis even of what other state agencies, small little boards pay an executive director. And so her board said they would like to increase her fees by $750 a month. So that ongoing expense would be $11,500 every year, but the revenue is $17,000 more every year than the current operating expenses. So even given
It would cover it.
it would absolutely
Plus,
cover it
have some left.
and some left over. So what we are asking for is the legislative budget recommendation really asked more for level funding. And so we're asking not to keep us at level funding, but to go ahead and give us the increases that we're asking for. And then again, most of that increase is a one-time expense, but we do want the 11,500 to stay in the budget year after year. And so what we're really asking is a modified request. And so we originally asked for 173,000, I get my glasses back on.
I can't see without.
783, yeah. And then, but we asked for a modified request of 188,695 because it,
695.
right, that's what we're asking for.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, they gave it to you and
Oh, okay, I got you.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay.
And,
Oh.
right. And the reason that we had to come before you asking for more than we did in the original request when we submitted it back in August is because of that security of the current database.
Okay.
So
Okay. Well, any senator have any other questions, or is there anything else that y'all need to wrap up?
Asking to be able to expend the money that you already have.
Yeah.
authority.
Yeah,
right.
that's, special fund agencies are self-funded through their fees and license and whatever they collect, but they still come to us every year for spending authority. And so that's why they're here telling us they just need to increase that spending authority on the special fund agencies. Now, the general fund agencies like the health department, because you're now on all my budgets, the health department and Department of Mental Health, they're general fund, federal funds, they're a myriad of funds for those agencies. So they, yeah. Right. So anyway, well, thank y'all. I appreciate it. Moving right on to physical therapy.
Let me, yeah, we'll see if she's here.
Okay, that's fine. Oh, I know it's a little early. We're a little ahead of schedule.
Take-
Uh-huh.
They stay warm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fine. Just when they're ready. We are running a little ahead of schedule. Okay. Thank you. Two more, I think. Yeah, physical therapy, medical licensure. Yeah. Yeah, Mississippi State? Oh, okay, USM. Mm-hmm. That's great. I'm a USM graduate. My daughter is a graduate in biochemistry from USM, and she went on to med school at UMMC. So that's where she works now at the hospital up here. Mm. She might. Okay.
Excuse me. You're good. I'm good. How about you? Good. Oh, goodness. That was great.
You go do whatever you need. I know y'all got meetings all over. You go wherever you need to go. If you need to vote, you go vote. I want you voting.
Yeah, they got, had a schedule. And so since we're here, they said, come on in and get them out here. No, we'll just, like, when they.
Mhm.
Be really close because they don't.
Thank y'all for coming. Would you mind introducing yourself to the committee? We have a new senator on our committee, Senator Dupree from Hattiesburg, and he's trying to learn everything that he can learn as fast as he can learn.
Sir?
Nah.
I'm Stephanie Boyette. I'm the executive director of the Physical Therapy Board.
And I'm Chris Bourne. I'm the chairman of the Physical Therapy State Licensing Board. So, good afternoon,
Good
everyone.
afternoon.
And I'm Denise DeRossa with Cornerstone, in case you didn't know.
We've been seeing you for a while.
I think so.
Yeah, for quite a number of years. Yeah. I'm ready when you are.
Physical therapy, I'm sorry, I'm so used
Yeah,
to-
speak into that microphone if you don't mind. You
Right.
kind of get it close.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, just as long as you get a few inches from it, you're fine.
Okay, wait, I think that's off.
Push it on, it's green. When it's green, it's on.
Okay, I
Yeah.
apologize.
Yeah, you're good.
Um, The Physical Therapy Board is a licensing and regulatory board for physical therapists and physical therapist assistants. The physical therapy profession has been regarded as one of the highest professions for years, and there's still is a demand for physical therapists and physical therapist assistants in Mississippi and across the nation. There are 4,242 licensees. We received in fiscal year 25, 29 complaints. There are 7 members on the board, 4 physical therapists, 1 physical therapist assistant, 1 consumer, and 1 physician. So now I'm gonna turn it over to Denise.
Thank you, Stephanie. I'm Chris Bourne. I've been the board chairman for, I believe, 3 years now. We're an active board, you know, we meet regularly. I really feel like we're doing what our job is, making sure that we're keeping our Mississippians safe, providing physical therapy as prescribed by the physicians and as indicated. And proud to be here and on the board.
So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the budget and, because that's what we're here for more than anything. They have talked about how this is a viable profession and how it has had growth in it. And so the number of licensees has increased. In the last year, it increased 15%. Yeah, it very much is. And that is going to continue. And so that brings our revenue higher as well. But our expenses are pretty much stagnant. And so there's a few things that we would like to talk about as part of that. The first thing that the board would like to do is ask for salary progressions for the staff members that are there. In the history of this board, and it's only been a board for 22 years, I think. Stephanie's been the only executive director that they've ever had. And in that time, they've only had 6 employees. So the turnover has not been all of that much. And so what they would like to do, they do have a vacancy right now, but what they'd like to do is be able to give a progression to the staff that have been there over time. And just to acknowledge them for the work that they have done. And so that progression is only $6,000. But the other thing that we want to point out is because the board does meet more often, is that they need more money in the per diem line item. And per diem is actually a salary expense in the state accounting system. And so when you give us a target of how much that salary can be, if we don't consider what we need for the per diem expenses, then it takes away from our fringe benefits and other things that we have to pay in salaries. So we know we'll need about $360 extra in per diems alone. And that's not much, but when you have a salary line item, you can't move money around. So we're just asking to make sure we have that authority. I won't spend a lot of time talking about House Bill 1491 and moving everything to for ITS to move to the cloud. But that is projected in our expenses. And so the next thing that you've heard already today is that this board actually has a licensing system that is the LMS system, which is license management system. About 12 different agencies use that system that was developed almost 10 years ago, and that platform is no longer supported. And so the vendor has looked at it and said, the security of that system is not there. Data cannot be encrypted. They're not getting the security updates because of that. And so the vendor has given each of these boards an estimate of what it would cost to upgrade to the new platform, to migrate all the data over, and to do the security patches that are needed. And this board's cost would be $38,610, and that is a one-time fee. So the technology projects, if we have to pay for the ITS cloud, would add $44,155 to the contractual budget. And so that's really the only request that they have is salaries and then IT related. One thing I do want to point out is that this board does have their licensees renew every other year, but several years ago, they went through an analysis and said, let's let everybody go into a 2-year cycle, but not have it all on the same year. So half of them renew 1 year and half the next. So we are always careful of looking at the revenue. And and not comparing it just strictly year to year, but where we are. And,
So you're good with it extending that extra year? And like-
absolutely. Yeah, the cycle has worked out really well. I can't remember, Stephanie, didn't you do it by alphabet or something like that?
Mhm.
That's correct.
That is 4,200. Did I write that down right?
Mhm.
Licensing. So those are the ones you're talking about. Oh,
Mhm.
And that's PTs and PT assistants? Yeah, okay.
That's right.
Mhm. Yeah,
Mhm.
of course.
Um, you talked about the management system, the LMS, and susceptible to security threats. If you don't do something like that, and someone's personal or business information gets out there, are you then susceptible to lawsuits? Are you liable for anything when you know that you're not able to do, when you know you have a system that is vulnerable? Well, that was why I mean, I just got a letter from AAA that said, watch out, some of my stuff may be gone. So when you know there's a problem and you don't address the problem, and then something happens, I would think you'd be liable for that.
Mm.
Yeah. That's what I mean, yeah. That's correct.
Especially when the vendors told you, they're covering themselves. So, yeah, and, we need these upgrades. I mean, it's obvious that we need these upgrades. So, hopefully we can get it done as timely as
Yeah.
possible.
That is great, and we would appreciate that support. I will say that they don't have any credit card information or any bank information in the system, because all of that is done through the state portal. And so the licensing system actually hands it off to the state,
Mhm.
and all of the data for that credit card or payment is
Mhm.
kept that way. And then the data comes back into the system saying they've got a valid license. So there is no worry that I
No
know
banking
of.
data.
No banking data.
No
but
banking,
social
just personal information.
Right.
Yeah,
Social Security.
addresses and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I can't even spell that word, so there's some people out there that can take care of that encryption. And if you get social security numbers and those kinds of things, and oftentimes when people ask them, they don't ask for the whole number, they just want the last four numbers. If you get the last four numbers, then that lets you in the system. And so they're so sophisticated now that anything that you have out there is susceptible to you getting your personal information some kind of way. Maybe not your business information, but they can get your personal.
I kind of figured they have it, most people that want it, that they have it, but, we will do whatever, whatever's necessary to try to help y'all get the upgrade. I mean, I'll try to get whatever y'all need as far as the system upgrade, because, there's no reason, I don't see any reason not to. I mean, it's, you've got the funds and you can get it upgraded. We need to go ahead and get it upgraded. So I don't foresee a problem with that, hopefully. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, they don't want to lose you as a customer. They just want to,
That's
they just want to help you fix it.
Right.
But
And the other good thing is it's the same company, so that they already
Yeah.
have the data, they can migrate it.
Right.
I think they gave us like 72 days or something to migrate it. So it would be very quick once we get the funding for it.
Your fees?
License fees.
Annually?
Fine.
Okay, bye.
So like, well, we collect, the fees every year because we have alternate, therapists.
You got alternate years, but so you get fees every year.
Right.
But not all of them at the same time.
Right.
Mhm. And that also helps your workload too, not to have to do it every year. And I'm working real hard on the cosmetology board to give them some leeway, not to have to do it every 2 years, to do it every 3 years. So, that's just something that I'm seeing repetitive on the boards that, sometimes 1 year is just, yeah, it's just cumbersome and, unless you're getting a complaint, there's no reason not to extend it. Of course, I'm sure if y'all getting a complaint, y'all are looking at it anyway. But, I do have to say that the physical therapy board is one of the boards I have never heard a complaint from a constituent since I got here. So that says a lot because I don't hear that for, I can't say that for every board, but I've never heard a complaint about the physical therapy board ever.
Therapy has become a hot item. We now have two in Hattiesburg. Besides USN, we now have William
Mhm.
here also has physical therapy.
Training,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
State's looking to open a hybrid program,
Really?
for physical therapists. You know, I was thinking about Stacy's, yeah, no miss, yeah.
Because now it takes as long as it does to be a doctor,
It
to
does.
be, it didn't used to take that long. And a few years ago, they swapped that over.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If they do kinesiology first, you add on to that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, thinking about Stephanie, she's been at 22 years. I have to look. Yeah.
Yes.
So back then we had the PT school in Jackson. We had maybe 3 PTA schools. And so,
Are y'all seeing the majority of the graduates stay here or?
yeah,
That's good. That's good.
and
Cause Mississippi's the best state to live in. That's why. Mississippi's the best state to live in and their money goes farther in Mississippi. So, yeah. Well, yeah.
they're pretty competitive, especially in the rural areas. They pay more just to recruit people. And there's always a trade-off. You could go to California and make money, but then you're going to pay more in expenses. So
Yeah.
competitively speaking, Mississippi's a good.
Expanded that
It has.
on the desire to be a
They've, I've worked with a program before where we had PTs, athletic trainers out in the schools and available. So it's
trained tonight.
Yeah. Right. They're not. They're not.
They changed direct access. It made it
I mean, we have collegial relationships with athletic trainers because they know what they can do. We know what we can do.
So that's your main thing, the salary progression and the updates to your software program.
This time.
So, okay. That's okay.
No maintenance.
I'm okay. I'm okay.
It's okay. Hey, by this time of the day, you need a cup of coffee anyway, huh? So yeah. So anybody else have any questions? If not, thank y'all.
Thank y'all. Take your time.
And look, don't hesitate to reach out if you need to, contact one of us, anything comes up or whatever. Don't hesitate. I do check my email, so. Uh-huh. Okay. Okay.
Our company represents about 17 small boards and commissions, and some of the
Thank you.
others. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Bye. And so some of these boards are too small to hire an account, to have somebody. Jay,
vibrate the text or call. Thank
do
you.
you want me to pass them out? You want me to pass out your stuff? We're a fiscal agent 17. And we do, some agencies like, larger agencies don't want to have their payroll done in-house by an employee. So we actually are hired to do payroll for, yeah.
Uh-huh. Oh, highways, was it McClendonsville? I mean, not McClendon's, but, Thompsonsville? Huh? It was yours? Okay, yeah.
Website.
I had one, I had a bill too.
We're just, we try to, we got a lot of word of mouth.
Came out of transportation? Okay, good. Huh? Oh, good. Yeah, and Thompson did too. Mike Thompson had one. Huh? Okay. How are y'all today?
We're great. Thank you for having us. I'm Jay Ledbetter. You know, Denise, we represent. I'm Jay Ledbetter. I knew you just met this girl. She does a lot of state work and she does a great job for us. We're going to speak about the medical board this
Yes.
afternoon.
Yes.
As of this morning, we were regulating and overseeing 15,431 licensees. Majority of those are out-of-state physicians that call in telemedicine into Mississippi. I will turn this over now to Denise to go over some budget numbers with you.
So one of the things that I was hoping Jay would talk about a little bit was how that medicine has changed over time. And y'all are probably well aware of that. He mentioned the telemedicine, but just the different things that the doctors are having to do. So there's some things that the board is going to want to do to increase their technology as well. And we'll talk about that. Do you want to say anything?
I'll speak to it very, very briefly because I know this is a numbers meeting, but telemedicine, once COVID hit, telemedicine really took over into the state. We were less than half that as far as physicians. Probably about 6,500 right now. Doctors, physicians are in-state doctors that show their residence here and that.
6,500?
Yes, ma'am. The vast majority, about 8,800, are from out of state. And telemedicine has changed the horizon for medicine in Mississippi. Medicine has changed so much. When the Medical Practice Act, the current Medical Practice Act, the ones, in fact, we have a couple of bills out there to update it now. There's nothing that addresses telemedicine. There's nothing that addresses the GLP-1s. There's nothing that addresses the changes and the upgrades in medicine that's out there now. And the technology, just the technology in medicine altogether. We're scrambling to keep up.
Yeah, AI is.
And you've got AI now too, and it's taking over. It really is.
They think they're going to take over.
Well, they're going to try to.
I think it's going to be a good tool, but it's, you can't replace a human.
That's exactly the way we describe it to them.
I know I'm right.
It's a tool that a doctor can use.
Yeah.
But it should not rely on it. It shouldn't be a one-on-one deal.
Right.
You still got to have that gold standard is still the face-to-face interaction with your physician.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You mentioned AI, so I'm going to just jump in there and then we'll come back. But the board has said, if our physicians are using things, then we should also be able to do that. And one of the requests that they have here is for a $50,000 upgrade to their tele IT system, because they want to be able to use AI to match what the doctors are prescribing to what the pharmacists are. So you may want to talk about that, but the case management, they think that they can use the AI to help them make sure that they target their investigations more. And so that's one of the things that they would like to implement.
So something better than the PMP for them to look at.
Something in addition to the PMP.
Mm-hmm. the pharmacy benefit manager, I mean, not pharmacy benefit manager, but the,
Prescription management,
prescription management program
there are a lot of.
that, where they keep up, the pharmacists have a computerized system to where they keep up with all the prescriptions that's prescribed by certain doctors and filled by certain individuals.
That
So they can track
level 3.
narcotics and things like that, and they have to monitor it too.
Yeah, actually, that program is run by the pharmacy board,
Yeah.
and 4 other agencies use it, and they actually pay the pharmacy board for the upkeep. And that's one of the things that we also pay for in this agency. Medical licensure pays 125,000. I think it's written into our appropriation bill of how much has to be paid annually to pharmacy. The dentists do it as well, and nursing pays as well. So there is a lot of technology going on, but I want to just take a step back and talk about some of the needs of the agency. You know, typically when we come before you, we say, here's what we need in salaries, here's what we need in travel, here's what we, and go by the major objects. But this agency went through some turnover last year and started looking at some overview of their agency and said, let's prioritize what we want. And they stopped and said, we have 5 priorities. Let's write our budget request based on those priorities. And so the very first priority was for operational expenses. They're in the same office building that they have been in for 19 years. The staff has grown from 19 to like 30 since they've been in that space. And so, and the lease was expiring. So they knew they needed to move. And so they didn't build that into their budget. And that was a mistake. So the lease expired in December. They went to the DFA to get the lease done, and DFA signed a new lease agreement with them. And one of the things that they did that happened in December is they extended the lease into the end of March of this year. And so they are moving into new facilities April 1st. None of that was budgeted. And so the lease itself is going to increase. But the other thing that happened is that they can't carry a lot of the furniture with them. A lot of it is built in. A lot of it is outdated. They want to make it more thank you. That's the word I was looking for. And so they really need money in the current fiscal year in 26 to be able to move, to buy the furniture. They need to actually hire some relocating services to relocate their IT and to relocate furniture. And so there's a huge cost associated that has to occur in FY26. So as part of your packet is a deficit letter. And that deficit letter is saying, we don't need any money. We just need authority to spend it in FY26. And so the majority of that deficit is for the relocation. The relocation will be $735,000. And all of that will be one-time expense, except 23,000 of it is for the last 3 months of rent increase that we don't have in the current year budget. 735,000.
Ooh.
That's to move. That is to yeah, and they've done a really good job of looking at what they need. They have a huge boardroom. Sometimes in that boardroom, they'll have 50 people at a board meeting, and they already have a good sound system. And and so they don't need a new sound system. But they do need to have somebody that has the skill set to move it. They do have really high security because of some of the hearings that they hold. And so they're going to need some security, like cameras and things that they cannot move, or they'll need additional ones. So there's a cost associated with the not just the technology and the equipment, but there's also that relocation and new furniture. The furniture is the biggest part of that. And they've already gotten that for quotes. It's going to be $670,000 just for the furnishings. 670,000, and that's the bulk of it. But
How big is the location that you're moving to? Like,
13,000 square feet,
okay,
give or take. Our current is about 10,
Mhm.
give or take. We have added people. where we are, and we've got them stuffed in cubicles and corners, and
Yeah,
we have 30 total. We have 32 pens open. We're recruiting one right now. We have several investigators that work from their homes out in the field in North Mississippi primarily, and a couple in Hattiesburg.
But one of the things in the current office space is the units can't be in the same place. You know, like the investigators are scattered throughout among the licensing people and things like that. So the new space is designed so that those units, each division will be in their own space, and that they'll have conference rooms for just like for the investigators to meet. And so that's added some of the cost of the furniture because they didn't have that in this current facility. Is there anything else?
This is a totally different question. It has nothing to do with cost, but are all your investigators trained in the medical field?
No, ma'am, they're mostly cops.
Okay. Why is it that you don't have any investigators that are trained in the medical field?
We don't pay them enough.
I'm finding that that's a problem. I haven't had a recent problem with your board, but with another board, an investigator basically that doesn't know what they're doing, doesn't know what they're investigating, doesn't know what they're looking at. And the person that they're investigating put on a better case than the board.
We have 9 board members,
Mhm.
physicians.
Right.
We have our executive director, a physician. We go over every open case with every investigator every Monday morning,
Mhm.
and he gives them guidance as we go.
And you get trained.
Opinions are worth maybe nothing, but I think a medical board ought to at least have one investigator that's trained in medicine.
I agree.
So let's look
How
toward,
about that?
let's look toward the future for that. And I mean, I know it's an expense, but when you're talking about somebody's livelihood that you're investigating,
So
you know, I want somebody qualified investigating them.
Well, and ma'am, these guys are qualified ladies, and
Well,
men that we have here, they're
I'm
very
not
qualified,
saying that
and
they're not,
investigators.
I'm not saying that they're not a qualified police officer, but they don't have a medical
Well,
degree.
I say police officer. They're not police officers. They are law enforcement certified.
Right.
They've never worked, they've never written traffic tickets. They
Right.
aren't that kind of cop.
I understand
They're
that.
trained investigators.
I understand that.
Madam
But-
Chairman,
Oh,
Then-
Senator Frazier?
thank you.
Sorry.
Where's your new location, your new space? Where's it located?
It's in, you want to say?
Our new location's in Ridgeland. It's on the east side of the mall. It's in the atrium building.
North Park Mall?
Yes, sir. Currently, we're located on Crane Ridge, just off Lakeland Drive,
By the
right above the medical clinic, the children's medical clinic. If you've ever taken your kids there, you know where we are.
Flowwood.
Or
No.
Ridgeland.
Yeah.
Just off County Line, right to the side of North Park Mall.
Would any other members have any questions or anything you need to add?
A couple of things, if you don't
Yeah.
mind. Okay.
We're,
If you're interested, this board has a lot of cash that, so if you really think that this is something that they should pursue, then we might ask, to have another position added. And
this is
for the-
just my opinion. I think the nursing board and the medical board both ought to have somebody that's practiced medicine as one of the investigators. That's just, to me, it's common sense. And I understand it costs more, but if you've got the money, I say, why not? That's just my thinking.
And, you just heard from the pharmacy board, and every one of their investigators is a pharmacist.
Yes.
So,
Pretty good there.
Yes, in this particular case I'm talking about, the pharmacy board found no problems, but another board did. So, unfortunately, sometimes I know more than probably I should know. But that's why I've brought this to your attention, is because I think if you send somebody along with your trained officer that's in the medical field, it may build your case, or it may, it may save you some time too. That's just something I was throwing out there.
I'd love to discuss this with you in
Yeah,
detail when you get time.
Absolutely.
We can flush this out.
that'd be
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, the expenses and the cost in your old building versus what the new building would be is, you know,
We had anticipated that the cost we would need 289,000, but we didn't need that much. It's about 250,000 more. Mhm.
paying what now?
We have, right now, they have the cheapest rent of any other state agency, I think. Do you have those figures? Okay, I don't have them with me, but I think that they were paying like $14 a square foot. I mean, it was like minimal. I'm sorry.
14,000 square foot?
Yes, sir.
How-
Mhm.
10,000.
A smaller building,
No, we were paying,
Current building.
yeah, the current building.
it's a smaller building, half the price that you'll be paying for
Much, less than half,
Um,
less than twice.
yeah.
yeah, no, yeah, less than twice. And I don't have that. Well, I might.
What was this building before you moved into, you're moving into? The building that you're moving, what was it before?
We're moving into we're proposing to move into the 6th floor. It was a call center.
A call center, okay. So you're gonna have one floor,
6,
well, all six,
just the 6th floor.
just the six, but what's under there?
Attorney General's there, Department of Health's there. A couple more state agencies have spot units there.
Already there.
Most of their tenants there are state agencies.
Senator Hobson, would you have any questions? They were discussing deficit appropriation and moving from one building to another, and the cost associated with that. That's kind of where we were wrapping up. Yeah.
It is.
Okay.
Mr. Thompson, you should have a copy of the deficit letter as part of the handout. And we are asking for that to happen in FY '26 for the deficit. There's a couple other things in there. We only had one vehicle in our FY '26 appropriation, but we totaled a vehicle. And so we had to buy two this year. And so we had to move the money out of contractual to cover that vehicle that we needed. And so we're asking for that spending authority back so that we can take care of the contractual expenses that we have
So
incurred.
you're leasing a vehicle or?
No, I'm sorry. We bought we have vehicles and then we replace them every so often. And so we had in our budget to replace one in the current year in FY
And
'26.
so you wrecked one, so you need to replace two.
Yes,
You
and
need
so
to.
we went ahead and did that,
Okay.
but because we had to have that vehicle because of our investigators being in the road. So we took the money out of our contractual budget and moved it into the vehicle line item. So that's part of the deficit, is to put that 30,000 back into our contractual line item.
I think Senator Hobson has a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do now that you mentioned deficit requests. I'm
Uh,
on of that request. Why does this need to be done this fiscal year and not next fiscal year?
Because their lease expired in December and they got it extended to the end of March, but they have to move. And so that cost is incurred this year, and they did not put it in their FY '26
They
budget.
didn't have it in the budget for last year?
I'm sorry,
They didn't have it in the FY '26 budget?
they did not.
And the difference between the two, I think that's what Senator Dupree was asking you when I walked in. What was the difference between the current lease and the future lease? Price difference?
I think it's 250,000, but I'll have to get back with you.
250 more?
Yes.
Over the course of what period of time?
I think that's their annual cost. Didn't bring that with me. I'm sorry.
We just get.
We'll get that for you.
I'd
But
appreciate it.
yeah, we
And-
did
and sh-
mark it in the deficit that they went from having, when they've had that building for 19 years that they're currently in, and how much they've grown in that period of time. And so that's why the space is bigger.
And she said most of the deficit was moving expenses, and most of the furniture couldn't be moved from the old building because it was stationary. A lot of the stuff was stationary. So yes,
So you said the bulk of that $700,000 was basically furniture. Okay. So are you buying it off state, the furniture off state contract? Or are you bidding it out, make sure we get the best bang for the buck?
Absolutely. You want to talk?
State contracts, sir, from what I understand.
That's right. Yeah, and again, they did not have this budgeted in FY '26. And so the, if they didn't get the deficit, then they wouldn't be able to meet certain expenses. One of the things that they wouldn't be able to pay is for the pharmacy board using the PMP. The other thing that they would probably not be able to do is make the payment to the recovering health network. That's a contract with somebody who does for the doctors that are in recovery. And so they would have to hold that payment because they don't have what they need. And it's not an issue of not having the cash. It's just the issue of having the
How much
authority.
money do you have, or in your?
I'll give you the exact, as of today, 11 million, almost 12 million, almost 12 million.
And that brings me to another question, and this may have been asked by somebody previous to me, but sitting on that big cash reserve, and you're feeling like your collections are gonna cover your increase in rent or lease, have y'all considered a program or something to benefit physicians to utilize some of those funds that y'all are sitting on? Maybe, I mean, we know you got all these doctors on telemedicine, but we've got a terrible shortage even in specialists, liver doctors, neuro-ophthalmologists, orthopedic oncologists. Have y'all ever considered doing some type of residency grant or something, or bringing something to the legislature to try to get some of these doctors that people are saying are leaving the state to actually stay here and practice some of these higher level specialty or something to do with that money rather than just letting it sit there? We need doctors desperately. We need specialists. When somebody says we can see you in 7 months, that's not acceptable. And we don't have socialized medicine. If we did, it'd be 7 years. But that's just something that I wanted to throw out there. And Senator Hobson may be able to comment or what on that. But I mean, I would like to see some of that utilized if it's not necessary to run the special fund agency.
I think it's a great idea, and there's legislation out there now with grant programs that we're tracking, and we certainly support a lot of that.
But, I don't know about the special fund and all that. I know that Hattiesburg had 4 doctors per capita, and the reason why is because they.
Well, we just need, there's certain fields of specialty that we desperately need more doctors in this state.
Absolutely needed, and also in the rural areas in our state, in the underserved areas. There's scholarship programs for the Delta, there are grant programs to bring doctors into the underserved areas, and we fully support that.
Well, I mean, I don't know anything other than the rural physician program that we do. I'm looking at potentially something different, because that's, you've got those listed practices that falls under the rural physician, but you're not retaining any of these neurologists, we have 1 neuro-ophthalmologist in the state last time I checked. We had 1 orthopedic oncologist in the state last time I checked. I think we had 1 high level liver doctor in the state. So that's what I'm considering, that we need to flush this out and try to figure out if there's something we can do to keep a doctor here for 5 years in some high level specialty. Pardon? I've asked my doctor, said we need them.
Have we asked them, what does it take to get them to keep?
Well, we know that forgiveness of loans, things like that, some type of fringe benefit to keep them.
So if
They're
anything like,
typically, we need them when they're already in their residency. We don't need to wait 11, 15 years to get them. We need them when they're close to being out. That's just my observation. So, any other comments, Senator Hobson?
the only thing I'll say is if things like that pass, then we'll need to make sure that our spending authority is increased in our appropriation so that we can use the money that we have.
Yeah, and it's, what'd you say, it was 700 and something thousand?
That's just for the deficit.
Yeah, for the.
But I'm saying, usually this budget is about 5 million.
Mhm.
And so we have, and we're collecting more every year than we spend. So that cash balance, we could use it, but we'd have to have authority to spend it. So if any other legislation is passed, then that would be great to give us that authority.
And so currently y'all are supposed to move out in March.
Yes, ma'am.
And they said DFA extended their lease until March. It ran out in December because apparently they were already planning on this move to Ridgeland. And I'm sure you probably knew more about that than I did. Okay.
Yeah, again, they had a change in the administration, and the previous administration did not put that into the budget.
Okay. Thank you. I guess we'll rise and report.
Thank you, ma'am.